Hey everyone, so today I wanted to kind of do this semi-spontaneous video on my run slash walk slash doing errands while I'm doing everything else today. I've put in a couple K today and then the 10K is tomorrow, so at some point probably this video may go up today, maybe tomorrow, whenever I have time and whenever I have a strong enough internet connection. But as you can tell, have chosen quite a very busy spot. There's actually a very important main bridge right behind me where everybody's crossing, hence the people staring at me funny. Maybe this wasn't the best idea to sit down and film, but fuck it! Breaking all the rules. Today I wanted to do a spontaneous review video on my Garmin watch. This is a product that I've had now for about, I'd say, maybe 2 months, just a little over 2 months, and I think I have now experienced it enough to give a fair enough review on it. As always, I try to actually obviously put in quite a bit of time with the products that I use so I can give you guys a fair enough review. So as far as my Garmin watch goes, it is the Garmin Vivoactive model. It's an older model. There is a Garmin Active HR, I think, which has the built-in heart rate monitor. This one does not have a heart rate monitor. First of all, I spent a couple of years researching watches before I decided to purchase one. I had seen the Garmin watches for a couple of years and a couple of years prior, and I had wanted to get one, but they weren't cheap. They are definitely more on the expensive end of the spectrum of active watches, fitness watches, whatever, digital watches, however you want to call these things. A lot of the companies out there, their watches are kind of cheaply made now. They're not that accurate. Now, when it comes to what I was looking for, I didn't need a watch that had a built-in heart rate monitor, and the reason for that is I feel like to get the best result when it comes to heart rate monitors is simply just getting a heart rate monitor. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for very accurate detailing, because when it comes to something like this, especially with the way we wear our watches on the top of the wrist, I think if I had purchased a watch that had a built-in heart rate monitor, I think to get the most accurate reading, I wouldn't wear it on the top of my wrist, but actually on the inside. And of course, that's not comfortable. Of course, that looks funny. And at that point, I think that's where having it as close to your actual veins is probably the most accurate. So when it comes to like Fitbits and all those other companies, the reason that they're probably not as accurate is because it's not as super close to your pulse / your actual veins. That's my logic. Science. But when it comes to the heart rate monitor, that wasn't the main selling point for me, and it wasn't as important for me. What was really important for me was finding a watch that actually was waterproof, because a lot of the companies out there, only recently has Apple with their 2nd gen iWatches made them waterproof, as they claim. But before that, prior to that, a lot of companies didn't actually make waterproof watches, or at least not that I found. A lot of the waterproof watches were either diving watches or specifically made for swimming. Now, that was another thing I was looking for, is I wanted a watch that would read my laps in the pool, and that was a huge thing that I couldn't find. Like, that was the one major factor I couldn't find with a lot of watches out there. A lot of watches either were specifically made for swimming, or they were just a generic like fitness track your steps kind of watch. But when it finally came down to it, I started looking for a watch, and this is the watch that I did find, and it is waterproof. It tracks your laps, and it does everything in between. You can run with it, you can use it for golfing. It has a golfing feature, and it is completely waterproof, as they claim. I actually haven't completely tested that theory out, so we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna see if it actually is waterproof. So Garmin, if this isn't waterproof and I just bust my watch the day before my race, I'm gonna get a hold of you and you're gonna give me another one. Fingers crossed. I'm here by a small river and slash waterfall, and we're gonna test isn't it? But hello. We're gonna test to see if this watch actually is waterproof. So let's see how this is gonna go without me falling into the damn river. Alright, here goes nothing. Alright. So, let's see. Alright, well, as you can tell, and as you saw, I just dunked it into the water. And, well, it's definitely not swiping, so that's kind of annoying. Well, at least the buttons are working. So I guess obviously once you set it, if you were swimming per se, obviously you would set it. You wouldn't fiddle around too much with it in the pool. But as you can tell, I guess with the screen being slightly wet, okay, you would need to have dry fingers for the swiping motion to work. Or some grip on your fingers essentially for the swiping to work on the screen. It is a touch screen, as you guys can tell. You can change, the fun features are like you can change the screen face, whoop, and I almost just dropped it back into that giant raging waterfall. You can change the faces of the watch. You can download them. It's very easy. It does come with an app that you can download to your phone. I have connected my watch. Whenever I go for runs, I connect it to my phone, which then syncs up to the Nike app that I always use, which is super easy. And you get, I find that you get, I've gotten a hell of a lot more of an accurate reading with the watch than I ever did with the app on my phone, which, I mean, makes sense. It does have a built-in GPS, which is another huge factor for me. The one other huge selling point for me was not only was it waterproof, but it does have the GPS, which you can upload any courses that you're running to the watch, which is, I find it's great because I'm going to try and figure out how, I haven't actually tried that out yet, but I'm going to figure out if I can download the courses for Spartan races and upload them to my watch so I can actually track while I'm racing. Oh, hello, birdie. Hello. Hello. Oh, goodbye. See, this is ADD overdrive. This is why I rarely film outside, because attention span of a bird or a guppy. One or the other. But that's another thing that apparently that you can do is download courses and upload them to your watch, and that way you can track yourself or figure out where you are along your run, your whatever you're doing, your competition or whatnot. The only, I think, downside that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is obviously the straps. They actually are replaceable, and you can find replaceable watches or replaceable straps on Amazon that I've noticed, and I'm probably going to have to do that soon. Now, I have the black one, but as you can tell, there is kind of a gross buildup of like sweatness and probably dead skin or whatever that is, and it does smell kind of funky, and my wrist does kind of smell funny, a little funky at the end of the day. So that is, I think, my only downfall to this watch. It is a little glitchy when it comes to, I have found it a little glitchy when it comes down to some functions of like the running laps part. That's a little confusing, and I do find that when it comes to syncing it to my phone, it's like it has a feature where you can pull up the calendar / attach it to your music / have your steps and the weather. I find that sometimes it doesn't sync as smoothly or as cleanly, but that's really the only complaint that I have with this watch. And I mean, this watch isn't cheap, or at least it wasn't when I purchased it. The original price essentially for this watch was, I think, $300. I ended up getting it for like, I ended up buying it off Amazon for like $2 something, and my sister recently purchased this watch for about $160 or $70. Which, I mean, you know, but it's whatever. For the watch that it is, so far I haven't had any complaints with it besides that. I mean, it's digital, the digital world and all technology, it's bound to be a little glitchy. It's not perfect, but as far as it being a watch, it's pretty damn good. The only other thing that I needed to get used to when it came down to this watch was the LED and seeing the time, there's really no adjusting the light on this watch. I think you can adjust it just a slight bit in the settings, but you do kind of have to get used to it not being like the typical bright LED screen that we are so used to seeing. But once I got used to it, I mean, you can clearly see what time it is. Once I got used to it, and I needed a watch. That was basically it. And this kind of does everything that I needed it to do. I haven't tried it swimming yet, and I'm waiting for some of the pools to open, so it's gonna be a little while away, because I generally swim outside. But I haven't tried that feature, which was again another major selling point for me, but I guess maybe I can do an update review on the watch. As far as other companies go, I like how clean this is. I like how simple it is. I don't need to read emails or send emails from my watch. So did I want to try out an iWatch? Probably not. It wasn't at the top of my list. I wanted something that was a lot more accurate and an actual like fitness watch. And I don't need to be looking at Instagram from my wrist. I really don't. That's not what I was looking for in a watch. So if you guys are looking for something that's a lot more digitally, social media kind of funky, like new agey based, it probably like something like the iWatch would be a better option. Do you want to spend $400 or $500 or $600 or $700 or a couple $1,000s on a watch? I mean, that's totally an option. It wasn't my option or my choice that I wanted to make. I just needed something that worked as a watch and then had a couple extra cool features and that actually worked. So I think I got that, and I've been pretty happy with it. I really don't have any other complaints, minus the lack of syncing as smoothly as I think we all are super used to with a bunch of other technology. But fuck it, like, it's not a big deal. It's a damn watch. I need it to just be a watch, and not fry when I get into the water. So success. I would say, you know, if you guys are looking to spend a little bit more money or looking for technology in a watch that is a lot more accurate, I would suggest something like Garmin. Garmin's been around for a really long time with making GPSs, and I think if you're looking for the accuracy of a GPS watch, I would definitely check out Garmin. If you're looking for something cheap and just something, you know, gimmicky and something that, you know, everybody else is using, I would say check out other companies. But if you're looking for something that's actually going to work for you, I would highly recommend checking out Garmin's line of watches. And as always, I leave the link for the watch and the company's website in the description box down below, so if you guys want to check them out. There's a fly on me. If you guys have any questions or any comments or suggestions of other companies or other watches that you maybe want me to check out, as always, leave it in the description box down below. I always try and get to your guys' comments as quickly as I can and respond and have a great conversation. Let me know if any of you actually have this watch out there. Let me know what your gripes are about the watch. If you guys have any suggestions, maybe for straps. Oh, and the only other thing I think I might invest in that scares me or concerns me about this watch is the face of this watch. I'm gonna get some like tempered glass whatever skin thing and put it on top of the screen, because I feel like one good smack against a wood wall that during Spartan and it's just gonna shatter into a million pieces. That's the only thing I am really concerned about when it comes to this watch. So that's the only other accessory I would suggest purchasing along with this watch, is those screen protectors and maybe an extra band. But as always, I'm starting to get cold and form snotsicles, so it's time for me to go and get out of here, finish my coffee and finish the rest of my errands. And stop getting stared at by people walking by. Not a good spot. Whatever. Worth it. Have a good weekend and a happy Mother's Day for any of you mothers out there. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.